Hello, welcome to Casual Veteran Gamer, and today we have Tavvins, Halfling Druid. Tavvins is not your usual and traditional Druid. She grew up in a noble house in Baldur's Gate and one of the few rich Halfling families there. She always had a yearning for life outside the city, and as she grew up, Tavvins would take the opportunity at night to go wandering outside the confines of the city walls. During one of her nightly walks, she came across a lone, wandering Druid who became a mentor of sorts, teaching her the ways of Druidic life, and so over time, Tavvins has become versed in some of the basic Druidic rites and rituals. She was able to use some daylight hours reading books from her family library about various different animals, plants and biomes. And on that fateful day, poor Tavvins was one of the many scooped up by the Nautiloid, which is where we start her adventure. So here is Tavvins. She is a lightfoot halfling and a druid. Her ability points are not optimal. She is not a good race if I want to be a wisdom caster. Her maximum wisdom is 15 and she's not even going to take the hag's hair. So even if I'd put it at 15, she wouldn't take it. So her ability points are 12 in strength, dexterity at 14 and constitution at 14 because it pains me not to do that, to be honest. Intelligence of 12 is to represent the fact that as a noble, she's been leading a life indoors, she's been studying, she's got access to lots of books. Wisdom at 14, she's been practicing a little bit about, her senses and intuition while she's been out and about, but she isn't as well trained in that as other druids could be. Charisma is 10, very basic. She can get along with people, but she's nothing special. She's not repulsive. She's just your average sort of halfling who gets along with people. Efficiency is a stealth. That comes from being a lightfoot halfling. The history and persuasion come from her noble background, and I decided to choose for her nature and perception. Nature because she loves to spend time in the plains, down by the river, by the sea, in the forests, and perception since she's been going out at night and she's had to look at her surroundings quite a lot and taken everything going on around her. For her two cantrips, she's taken Produce Flame because she is a halfling. She doesn't have dark vision, and should she be somewhere where she needs to have some light, she can quickly produce it herself. And Guidance, since she isn't stupid, she knows that this is a good cantrip to have to help her out when she's out and about doing things. And I think that basically just about covers it. Yeah, her background is a noble. As for her class, she can change her prepared spells at any point, so don't need to worry about that. And so yeah, let's get into it. Not long after landing on the beach, Tavvins gets to level 2. At level 2, druids get to choose their subclass. She's going to go for Circle of the Land, and you also get the Wild Shape option. As a Circle of the Land Druid, she also gets Natural Recovery to get spell slots back, just like a wizard can do. And there is a new cantrip available. She's going to pick Thorn Whip. If you're going to roleplay Tavvins properly, she is always on the lookout for plants to take. So if you can, do find things like balsam that are hanging around. She's already picked up a few things. She found some belladonna, some myrgrass, some balsam already, and we've got some more belladonna up here. She's been a busy little halfling druid so far. Tavvins is fairly happy-go-lucky sort of halfling, ready to help, so she will be helping those in need. However, this won't always go in her favour. So at this point, she probably becomes quite distrustful of Astarion, but she will try and take the path of least resistance in such a situation. Oops, she's supposed to nod there. Where she can use her persuasion from being a noble, she will try. She's already got guidance. And she succeeds this time, but still distrustful of this elf, especially when he does that with his legs. And she'll take all the help she can get for now, but she's going to keep a sneaky eye on Astarion. Now, Tavvins has spent some time amongst books and researching and having the slight leisure of having a large library at home. So she has a, respect for Gale. So she's going to be kind to him and quite open with him. She can tell, probably just from the look of him, that he's a wizard. She's quite truthful. She can tend to basic wounds and ailments, but she can't remove alien parasites. And she's quite happy with his optimism, to be honest. Although Tavvins isn't necessarily the most charismatic or natural leader around, she can recognise the tension between Shadowheart and Lae'zel. What she's going to tell Shadowheart is that Shadowheart should stay in camp to look after people who are wounded after a long day's rest. Since she is a cleric, she's got the best healing powers around, and she'll ask Lae'zel to come along with us. So come join me. Make sure you don't forget to use the Natural Recovery action ability, since she is a Circle of the Land druid, so we can get those lovely spell slots back. And also don't forget that she can actually still wild shape into other things, and every now and again she will turn into a cat. She'll go on small scouting missions every now and again. Tavvins has just saved the Druid Grove from the initial assault, and she has got to level 3. at which point she gets to pick a circle of the land. Which circle is she going to pick? I would say if you're following this build, there's two options. I mean, Baldur's Gate is on the Sword Coast, so coast would be very much in line with the general area, but also grassland, like the area surrounding Baldur's Gate, as far as I'm aware, I might be wrong, as far as I'm aware, is grassland. There are no massive forests right next to Baldur's Gate, so I'm going to give her grassland, but I would accept that coast would be a good choice for her. But as grassland, she gets the spell invisibility and pass without trace, and the coast would give her mirror image and misty step. In fact, both of these choices are pretty decent. I'd be happy to pick coast or grassland, to be honest. Tavvins and co are inside the Druid Grove, and she's going to follow the tradition of Druids and not wear metal armor. I suppose the shield has some metal in it. She's going to replace that shield later on. She has picked up the Amulet of Sylvanus down by the bear that's just here. It's just underneath this flat rock. And she's picked up the Whispering Promise from Volo. So when the wearer heals a creature, it also receives a 1d4 bonus to attack rolls and saving throws. And she's also picked up leather armor +1. Oh, and a scimitar plus. She doesn't normally use the scimitar, but since she is proficient with it and its finesse, there is no harm in having it. Since she doesn't have Shillelagh as a cantrip, there's no point in having a club. So Tavvins took the opportunity just now to take one of the training shields because they are made purely of wood. They had to pay a bribe, but that is all in her noble background apparently. She got inspiration from that, so it's all good. So now she's got a nice wooden shield. Tavvins is impressed enough with Wyll and kind of trusting enough of Wyll, since he mentions Halsin and he's the big man druid around here. And she kind of trusts Wyll a bit more than Astarion, who's coming across as a little bit creepy and very selfish. So the next time that Tavvins goes to camp, she will ditch Astarion, tell him to stay there, and then take Wyll with her. Tavvins is not impressed with Kagha and is not on her side. She's very suspicious of Kagha, and Tavvins will use her proficiency in nature to try and overcome Kagha's orders, make her see some sort of sense.
I hear the Tree Father's spirit in your words. Out, thief.
And so our little druid Tavvins, and I must say that these spells of invisibility and pass without trace really fit with her sort of modus operandi, having stolen into the night while she was living in Baldur's Gate, having proficiency in stealth as a halfling, although Astarion would be much better at this. And what do we find inside? We find evidence of the Shadow Druids. Tavvins is going to sort this out. She's not impressed. She may not be from a traditional circle, but she knows the Shadow Druids are bad. They've popped up in writings and in history before. So we're going to follow this clue down to the swamp docks, to the tree, and meet Oladan alone. At level 4, all druids get a new wild shape form, which is the Deep Rothe. They also get to choose one more cantrip. Tavvins is going to pick Shillelagh. She is now leaning into the more traditional sort of druid craft. Then for an ability score improvement or feat, for the most part, her travels have sharpened her senses and intuition. She's following the way of the druid. Her wisdom is more than likely going to increase by 2. The other thing she would be interested in doing is potentially magic initiate druid, so she can learn all the cantrips that druids can know, at least in Baldur's Gate 3, so she can be the most druid there is. The downside is that then we have to pick one of these spells, which, you know, she can already get access to. But if she did this, I think she would go for either Goodberry to keep her fed along the way, or Fog Cloud to try and cover her tracks. But I'm going to put her right now at Wisdom +2. The reason for the extra Wisdom is not only does it increase her attack rolls with her spells and increases her save DC by 1, it also allows her to prepare 1 extra spell. At level 3, she could only prepare 5 spells because it's your level plus your Wisdom modifier, which is +2. Now she's gone up a level, so that goes up to 4 prepared spells from the level, and then Wisdom modifier goes up to +3, so 4 + 3 equals 7. And also we're going to go pick up a lovely club and shield very, very soon. There are lots of lovely druid spells. Unfortunately, lots of them require concentration. Spike Growth, Moonbeam, Flaming Sphere, in the right setup, Flame Blade, Fairy Fire, Fog Clouds. Even Entangle isn't so bad. Loads and loads of good druid spells here. The Circle of Grassland spells are also both concentration, invisibility, and pass without trace. So this is the meeting spot for Kagha, but we've got a few people to deal with first. Now, Tavvins here isn't stupid. She will prepare the best spells for the right situation, and she knows wood roads are vulnerable to fire damage, so she's going to start the fight off with Flaming Sphere, and then we'll see if we can find Kagha's meeting points. After defeating the wood roads and the mud mephits, there's a wooden crevice here. Take the letter to Kagha and let's have a read. Tavvins is going to read in Faldorn's memory. Uh-oh.
Kagha means to turn the circle.
Now this fight was also good for the Woodroads. Well, not for the Woodroads, for us. Because now Tavvins can equip a club made of wood, which is kind of nice. And over on the other wood road is an organic shield. Absolutely perfect for Tavvins here. There we are. Looking like quite the druid, like she always dreamed to be. So we're going to confront Kagha. I know the truth. You mean to take the grove for the shadow druids. This will be the fight of Tavvins' life, at least so far. Tavvins is definitely not going to join the Cloakwood Druids, but she will use her proficiency in nature to try and overcome this, with a bit of guidance. And we'll try and persuade her after that. And try and save Kagha if we can. And Tavvins is inspired enough to try again. She doesn't want the grove to erupt into civil war. So here we go. Tavvins saving the grove.
Wrath thought me a danger. Seems I've proven him right.
So we go speak to Kagha one more time. So we get Faith Warden. Well, it says Faith Warden, now it says Pale Oak, whatever. So what this does, holder of the item gains, Faith Warden's Vines, level 1 conjuration spell. Druidic Vines cannot ensnare you and do not count as difficult terrain. Unfortunately, every quarterstaff is two-handed, which is a little bit annoying. But let's equip it anyway, here it is. We can use this once per long rest, basically an extra use of Entangle. If I could wear a shield at the same time, I would probably keep her with it, but she's going to go back to Club and Shield. But she'll keep Pale Oak always, never sell it. Keep it on a person just in case she wants to use it. And there's only one last thing for Tavvins to do really, and that's free Halsin. As soon as Tavvins realizes what's going on in this little area, in the walk pens, she prepares herself for battle. Now, she might not be the most appropriate character to do this, but she wants to break this bear out, and so she enlists the help of Gale. Or, even better, a bit of a group effort here. She is going to go and save Master Halsin. So after saving the poor bear and Mr. Halsin, Tavvins and Halsin are going to go on a rampage through the goblin camp. And so to begin the goblin hunt, Tavvins decides to turn into a wolf. We'll have two predators wreaking havoc through the camp. First goblin down, thank you Halsin. And every battle that starts as a wolf, Tavvins here is going to incite everybody along, encourage them. Charge! So here comes Daddy Halsin. And at appropriate moments, Tavvins will come out of wild shape form and use her druidic spells to light up the enemies and then run away. So with the help of Tavvins, with the fairy fire, Halsin is able to easily knock down Halsin with a lovely critical hit. Make him fall into just a lump of hobgoblin there. And since we're dealing with the goblin leaders, True Soul Gutters left, we're going to start off in a not very fair way. With Moonbeam. Well, Tavvins was but bait. And now with one nasty Thunderwave, should be able to finish off True Soul Gut with no problem. And so Tavvins and her crew will continue to go through the rest of the goblin camp. It will be no problem. All the goblin leaders are dead now. And after returning to the Druid Grove, Tavvins was rewarded. She got given the Rune of the Wolf by Wrath. So she's going to collect her prize, her reward, and then she'll carry on her merry way on her adventure. Down into the hidden vault we go. And actually, as nice as these items might be, none of these are particularly overly useful for her. And Tavvins is going to continue ridding the Sword Coast of the Goblin Blight. So let me know what you think of Tavvins. Obviously, she's not the most optimized character, but something a bit different compared to what I would usually do. Hopefully you've learnt something new. If you liked this video, perhaps you can go watch some of my other videos based on themes such as the Storm Sorcerer or Tavrio. If you made it this far, please do consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Don't worry about Astarion here, he's just doing some vampire yoga.